Landscapes and terrain hold many memories of the past, including that of Central Park. Its wildlife and scenic trails are something that we all benefit from, and for as long as I've been here in New York, I thought that it was a natural landscape. But after doing more research and diving into its history, I was surprised to find out that this park was by design. It is human-made, and I was even more surprised to find out about what was destroyed to build it, such as Seneca Village. Seneca Village was predominantly a Black community with some settlers of Irish and German descent that existed between 1825 and 1857. And though often falsely labeled as a shantytown, most residents were gainfully employed, owned property, and lived in 2- or 3-story homes with their families. And while New York continued to be highly segregated during this time period, residents of Seneca Village lived life together. Residents really enjoyed inviting each other for tea, and archives even show evidence of integrated church services and memorials. And despite this community's great cultural significance, there are very deep gaps in historical records. This photo of All Angels' Church is the only surviving photo of a building from Seneca Village, and these are the only portraits. Albro Lyons Sr. and Mary Joseph Lyons were a wealthy family that had 2 daughters named Maricha and Pauline. In essence, Seneca Village was a safe haven from the discrimination, the threats of violence, and the otherwise grave obstacles Black people had to face throughout New York State in the 1800s. And after it was destroyed, its existence was lost from public consciousness for decades. I mean, there was very little discussion about it for over 100 years, until historical revival efforts picked up again in the late 1990s. And for something so important to be forgotten just like that, it really struck a chord with me. My thesis project, Revisiting Central Park's History, Seneca Village, is an interactive art installation that attempts to bring back these buried feelings of loss. Installation visitors can take a tour of Seneca Village by walking through its historical map in order to uncover videos of its most prominent history. In total, there are about 10 different interactable, shiny locations with about 4 minutes of historical videos. This installation makes use of 2 projectors and an Azure Connect depth camera. While one projector displays an interactive map on the floor, the other displays historical videos on the wall. The camera is used to capture movement by installation visitors and is rigged to Touch Designer, which is a node-based programming language. First, the camera captures a live video feed of the floor, and this data is then converted into a point cloud, which is a set of 3D points that represent any objects within the camera's view. The point cloud is then converted to a 2D image and analyzed through blob tracking, which is a computational method used to identify moving objects within a scene. The UV position of these blobs are in turn analyzed to detect if the visitor is standing on top of any marked map locations, and if so, it will fade, and a video regarding that location's historical significance is added to a playlist for viewing. When the video is done playing, its corresponding map marker becomes active and visible once again. Needless to say, this project came with its difficulties. It had very odd technical demands. The strangest piece to program was definitely the custom playlist functionality, but I think too that was part of the fun. I got to learn a new program and execute my ideas. And this project also had high research demands, and at the very beginning, I had issues sourcing enough history to actually share. This event shows up in about 2 books total. It's pretty sparse, but I eventually was able to find enough. And even though this installation did take a lot of work, I feel like, it's still quite small in the grand scheme of things, that there are limits to my impact as an individual. But even so, I really believe that the impact that we all have collectively and together is immeasurable. To know each other, to care about each other, and as people present in New York today to especially aspire to be a community that can identify and reject instances of anti-Black gentrification. Thank you.